Khalil Mack could be on his way back to the silver and black. And my top free agent targets for our Las Vegas Raiders. Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Simon Raider, and we are back with another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love daily Raider content, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Let's not waste any more time and let's get right into it. First things first, man, we could possibly be seeing a Khalil Mack reunion here in Las Vegas. Man, how great would it be to have Khalil Mack donning the silver and black once again to end his career off? Whoo-wee. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is not just because I just want to bring it up out of nowhere. I know I've talked about this before. I did a Raiders hot take and I was asked about Khalil Mack possibly joining the Raiders, and I would be all for it. But according to Forever Football, it seems like Khalil Mack could possibly be on his way back, saying veteran linebacker Khalil Mack is set to enter free agency and may consider a reunion with the Raiders. Some of Mack's best years were with the Raiders, and playing opposite of Max Crosby could be enticing. Now, after reading this, has me feeling like,
Don't
what?
give me hope.
now I know that I wasn't the only one feeling devastated that the Raiders traded away Khalil Mack. And what's even crazier is the fact that the 2 first-round picks that we got for him are not on the team right now, which seems like a huge waste. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be saying, yo, Khalil Mack is past his prime. The Raiders don't need him. But even at that, though, Khalil Mack is still a premier pass rusher in the league today. Last season in 2024, he had 39 total tackles, 40+ pressures, 6 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 15 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery, making the Pro Bowl last season. I know he didn't play, but still having a Pro Bowl caliber season. So you can't say that he doesn't have any more juice left in the tank. Now, going all the way back, he was drafted by the Raiders in 2014. Khalil Mack was a dominant force on the defensive line for years, becoming an NFL Defensive Player of the Year, a multiple-time first-team All-Pro, and multiple-time Pro Bowler, all until he was traded away in 2019 by none other than John Gruden to the Chicago Bears. Ironically enough, that same year, the Raiders ended up drafting Mad Max Crosby, who many years later has become the face of the Raiders defense. So to possibly bring back Mack to the silver and black and pair him up alongside of Max Crosby,
my neck and my back.
I believe he'd be the best pass rusher that Max Crosby has played alongside of since I think forever. I mean, Yannick Ngakoue was solid, Chandler Jones was solid till he went cuckoo, but other than that, we haven't had a real dominant edge rusher alongside of him. I know Malcolm Koonce had that little stint at the end of 2023, but still a big name that could come in and relieve Max Crosby to take the pressure off him. I think Khalil Mack would be a perfect pairing alongside of him. Now, I know that Khalil Mack hinted off that he could possibly retire after the last game of the season last year, but according to Adam Schefter, he reported that Mack will indeed be playing in 2025, saying 9-time Pro Bowl linebacker Khalil Mack, who said after the Chargers postseason loss to the Texans that he needed to take some time to mold his future, will indeed play in the 2025 season, per source. Mack's contract is up and he is scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent. So with that said, and the fact that he most likely will not be going to the sorry-ass Chargers, this will be a perfect time for Khalil Mack to come back and finish off his career as a Raider and a first-time Las Vegas Raider. At this stage of his career, he most likely won't be demanding top dollar, so the Raiders could possibly afford him. I know last season he got paid a $19 million salary, and he could possibly demand some money, but I feel like a solid number for him. His contract could range from as low as $10 million if he wants to come on a team-friendly deal, or up towards $20 million. I feel like if the Raiders can meet him halfway at that $15 million mark, I think that would be perfect to bring him here back to the silver and black. And maybe even at that, we could hopefully bring back Malcolm Koonce on the team-friendly deal on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he could learn a thing or two from Khalil Mack. But I highly see that happening if we do give Mack a big contract, or somewhat of a sizable contract. Who knows? But do I think at his age, at 34 years old, is it worth bringing Khalil Mack back to the Raiders? I say yes. And most of that because, you know, I got a lot of emotional attachment to him. He was the first player I ever covered, you know, as a Raider YouTuber. That whole draft class, the 2014 draft class, was the first year I hopped on YouTube and see Khalil Mack as the first player, the first iconic franchise player, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that I watched, that I covered, that I talked about over and over again up until the point that he got traded to the Bears. I can say, you know, just as a biased Raider fan, and just the fact that I do have some emotional attachment to it, and the fact that I do feel like he still has a little bit in the tank to come back over here and at least be a veteran edge rusher alongside of Max Crosby, and even having Christian Wilkins here, and maybe even adding more pieces on the defense and the defensive line. Oh my goodness. Why not? Why not bring back Khalil Mack? I think he'd be perfect for this team. And just to have him back where it all started, I think it would be cinema. But that's just me though, Raider Nation. What do you guys think? Do you feel like the Raiders should bring back Khalil Mack if he's interested in coming back? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, I know that Khalil Mack is one free agent target that I would love to bring over here to the Raiders, but I want to go over some of my top free agent targets, at least 3 or 4 more that the Raiders should definitely consider bringing here to Las Vegas. The number one guy that I want to talk about is cornerback Byron Murphy. Now, with Nate Hobbs hitting the open market and the fact that the Raiders will have money to spend, good thing for them, there's going to be a good variety of cornerback options in free agency, and Murphy could be the perfect replacement. According to Matt Bowen, he actually linked the Raiders to Byron Murphy as the best fit in free agency, saying the Raiders need more ball hawks in the secondary, and they could lose safeties Trayvon Merrick and Marcus Epps, and slot corner Nate Hobbs to free agency. Murphy's 6 interceptions last season tied for 3rd most in the NFL, and he has 14 over his 6-year career. With the ability to play on the perimeter or in the slot, Murphy has the backfield vision and short area speed to close on the ball and make an impact for Las Vegas. He's a clear upgrade for a defense that finished with only 10 interceptions in 2024. So adding to that, you know, Murphy is a versatile and underrated cornerback, especially coming off of a Pro Bowl caliber season. I think that he'd be a great option for the Raiders to bring in free agency, and I still can see the Raiders going into the draft and drafting another solid cornerback option just to add to the depth in the cornerback room. Heck, if we go out and get Will Johnson and we sign a guy like Byron Murphy alongside of the guys that we already have on the roster right now, I think the cornerback room will be solid, especially if they're getting coached up by Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham. Now, going to the offensive side of the ball, I know quarterback is a big need for the Raiders, and there's no secret that the Raiders do need a quarterback in the draft and in free agency. And I know I talked about a lot of other quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and even getting Aaron Rodgers, because I believe those are 2 veteran quarterbacks that could come over here, be a bridge quarterback, and could come on a cheap deal. But my top target, if I was the GM and if I had the choice to get the quarterback that I want in free agency, I think that there is no better option than Justin Fields. Now, he's always been my top quarterback in free agency, and looking at his age, he's 3 years younger than Sam Darnold and wouldn't cost as much. And on top of that, he has a higher ceiling than Sam Darnold, and he could be the quarterback for us for many more years. Plus, being in Chip Kelly's system, I think he's the perfect quarterback that could run Chip Kelly's system. A dual threat quarterback that plays safe, that doesn't turn the ball over, and last season in 2024 played in 10 games, only had 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while also rushing for 289 yards, adding 5 touchdowns and 4 fumbles. Now, I know he's not known as a passer, but his dual threat ability, especially added with this offense that we're going to be running in 2025, I feel like it's going to be enticing for this team. And even at that, the Raiders could still go in the draft and draft a quarterback. Now, they don't have to get one in the 1st or maybe even the 2nd round, but if there's a quarterback there that they love, that they could bring in over here, that could sit for a couple of years behind Justin Fields, then I think this would be a perfect signing for the Raiders. Now, another player that I would love to bring over here to Las Vegas, that I wouldn't mind spending whatever we need to spend on him to bring him and lock him down for more years, is offensive guard Trey Smith. Now, I know that the Chiefs have a big decision to make whether or not they want to tag Smith, but if they don't, which most likely I feel like they won't, the Raiders need to sign him and bring him over here to Las Vegas. He is by far the best guard in free agency and would solidify a huge need on the offensive line. Plus, it hurts the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a plus. The Raiders have heaps of money to spend and could easily afford his $19 million plus salary. So with that said, solidifying the offensive line is the #1 priority, I feel like, for the Raiders in free agency, alongside of getting a quarterback, of course. But no matter what the Raiders end up doing at quarterback, if we do solidify that offensive line, it makes their job much easier. Smith is only 26 years old, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and has a lot of great years ahead of him. So to bring him in and pair him up alongside of JPJ and DJ Glaze, they could definitely hold down the right side of the offensive line for many years to come. Now, the last free agent target I feel like the Raiders should definitely bring in is linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Now, I know that he has a bit of an injury history, but he's still 27 years old, and when healthy is one of the better linebackers in the league. And I feel like he would be a solid pairing alongside of Robert Spillane if we were to bring Robert Spillane back, which, you know, we should. And even at this stage, he's better than Spillane and Diablo in coverage and even against the run. But with all the injury issues that he's been dealing with, the Raiders could possibly bring him in on a cheaper deal, a team-friendly contract, so he can prove himself. And if they're able to do that, then I feel like this would be a huge steal. I mean, if he wants to get top dollar in free agency, then I guess we don't have to get him. But he's a guy that I definitely been keeping my eye on in free agency. But with that said, the Raider Nation, man, let me know what top free agents would you guys want to bring in here to Las Vegas. Who is your number one free agent? Who would you sign if you were the GM today? Let me know down in the comments below. With that said, let's not waste any more time. Until the next video, this your boy, Simone Raider, and your boys, yeah.